Weather impact alert day ahead as an atmospheric river starts to open up the storm door, followed by multiple rounds of heavy rain and snow heading our way. We're tracking it all. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. Now, the main impact day is going to be Saturday throughout the valley, the coast, and the Sierra with slick roads and the need to prepare for extra travel time, especially since we're kicking off the weekend on a very wet and stormy note. You can track these in-depth forecasts and the changes that we'll be tracking on ABC 10 Plus. That's our streaming app wherever you stream on TV. Live, local, always on. Make sure you get ahead of all these changing conditions in Northern California. Our satellite and radar showing the ridge of high pressure still in control of our weather. That's been bringing us very stable conditions with areas of dense fog, hazy skies, poor air quality, but also a very dangerous situation in Southern California with those offshore winds. We still have that red flag warning in effect continuing through tomorrow. Of course, we've got the fire burning in Malibu. As you can see, we've been following this for the past 24 hours, developing late on Monday, and it really exploded in nature because of these offshore dry winds, Santa Ana winds. They can really fan the flames of a dangerous fire situation in Southern California. So again, we'll continue to track that. In the meantime, we do have changing weather conditions. Our future visibility as we take a look at Wednesday morning, we start off with patchy frost and fog once again in much of the Central Valley with areas of reduced visibility for the morning commute, especially along that 99 corridor stretching towards I-5 all the way deep into the San Joaquin Valley. Now, it will start to clear during the day, but it's replaced by a lot of cloud cover coming in from our first weather system we're going to be tracking. A look at our burn status for tomorrow. Since we're still under that ridge of high pressure, no burning unless exempt for Sacramento, San Joaquin, and Stanislaus counties. We've been looking at really poor air quality with wood burning smoke settling into the lowest elevations. Now you can start to see some of the changes unfolding here in the next 7 days as I just show the overnight lows. We start off with patchy frost and fog on Wednesday, morning lows in the 30s. Once we get into the cloud cover, areas of rain, that puts a buffer over getting those lows into the 30s. So we'll see the warmer overnight lows, but we'll also be looking at periods of heavy rain in the forecast. Our average low is right around 40 degrees, so we're certainly going to be getting back to near that, if not slightly above it. All right, now on to the precipitation risk. As you can see with the 3 to 7 day weather hazards outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, in association with the Weather Prediction Center, we are looking at areas of heavy precipitation potentially along the north coast and also north of I-80. So that's just going to be our 3 to 7 day hazard outlook for precipitation. We get right back into it here with our winter weather advisory. So we had that stretch of dry weather, but now we are back to winter-like conditions here in Northern California. That winter weather advisory starts up at 10 p.m. on Wednesday. It takes us all the way through Thursday afternoon, with periods of difficult travel, especially for the Sierra. Here's a look at how the first band of rain starts to unfold. This is a quick mover, by the way. So as we track this, you'll notice it hits us late on Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, and it's out of here by pretty much the morning commute for the valley, just enough to kind of wash out the atmosphere and clean up that air quality, which has been quite troublesome here. We see scattered showers continuing for the morning commute in the foothills and widespread snow for at least the 7 o'clock hour. Now, what we'll see during the afternoon is pretty much scattered showers throughout the valley, but the snow will continue to pile up for the Sierra before winding down right about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. By the evening, things are starting to dry out, but we're left with lots of cloud cover. So this first weather maker that comes on through gives us roughly about a 1/10 of an inch to close to about a 1/2 an inch of rain in parts of the valley, closer to about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain for the foothills. I'll look at the snowfall totals, and we're going to be in line for about 1 to 10 inches of snow for many places in the Sierra, with much higher totals coming in by the weekend. Plan accordingly if you want to hit the slopes for some fresh powder so you don't get stuck in some of those travel delays very likely on Saturday along the passes. That includes 88, 89, Highway 4, 80, 50, 395 up and down the Sierra Spine, because you can see, again, a parade of storms getting ready to move through from the Pacific. Multiple atmospheric rivers on tap for us. Saturday's the main day for us with the excessive rainfall forecast. As you can see, especially in the North Bay area right along the north coast, could see some minor flooding issues, especially as creeks and streams start to get higher and higher. They could be overflowing their banks, and we could see some ponding on the roadways, which would likely lead to some travel issues for the lower elevations as well, because of course everything runs downstream. We still have some leaves falling, and that's clogging some storm drains, which could be problematic, especially for the valley locations, which still are getting rid of almost the end of our fall leaf season. Our winter storm severity index also indicating over the next several days that we'll have a minor to moderate severity index here, especially south of Highway 50, once we get into some of those higher peaks around Mammoth, Kirkwood, and again towards the Yosemite area. All right, taking a look at that snow level forecast, we'll be basically fluctuating between about 4,500 to 6,000 feet. Here's what I would say about that. Don't get too caught up on the numbers, because what this means, we will see snow below the passes throughout the duration of these storm events. And that means slow travel in the high country. So we say goodbye to that high pressure ridge, which has been with us for about 2 weeks now, and we get back to that active pattern late Wednesday through Thursday. This is the quick moving, kind of weaker of, or I should say weakest of the three systems that comes through. Nonetheless, it does start to open up the door for more wet weather to come on through. By Thursday afternoon, it's just scattered showers throughout the valley, but widespread snow still continuing in the Sierra before we get a break in the action. And then by Friday, we start to see the leading edge of storm system number 2. Now, this one's the wetter, bigger storm for us. It comes through with pretty good force. It has an associated moderate to strong cold front, which will bring us an active weather pattern on Saturday and a lot of snow for the Sierra. It does have a little bit of warmth associated to it as well, which will give us a boost in our precipitation numbers. Now, that is just storm system number 2. So you can see the first one coming through with our future moisture and kind of the indications of that atmospheric river. Here's the plume of moisture that will be feeding it. We get the first one on Thursday. That whips through here pretty quickly. A break, and then Saturday's storm system starts to roll on through before we start to see Sunday into Monday's weather system. And then by late on Tuesday, we're starting to return to that ridge of high pressure, and things look like they're going to dry out. However, next Friday, so not this Friday, but the following Friday, which could be a busy travel period, there are some indications we'll get right back to this action here with a wetter weather pattern developing once again. All right, Friday through Tuesday. So we're going to take it through this Friday through next Tuesday. Anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to an inch of rain accumulating for the valley. Now, that's on top of what we'll see on Thursday's totals. Redding closer to about 3 to 4 inches of rain. Blue Canyon 3 to 4. Sonora about 1/2 inch to an inch, and even San Francisco about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Snow totals equally impressive, anywhere from about 1 to 12 inches through the Tahoe Basin and points southward, but towards Lassen, 24 to 30 inches of snow. We're talking moderate impacts, including chain controls, slick roads, and travel delays. Again, timing is going to be everything. I know you want to hit that fresh powder because it's been kind of dry and warm up in the high country. Now, over the next 10 days, this is a look at the snow forecast. It's an accumulated 10-day forecast. This isn't going to come in all in one hit here, but 20 to 40 inches of snow possible to put back on the slopes, which, by the way, kind of needing at this point. Our snow water equivalent starting to kind of dwindle here after that first significant atmospheric river rolled through at the end of November, giving us a good boost in the snowpack. But now we're down to about 80 to 170% of average. We're only about 20 to 25% of average for that April 1st date. Statewide, we're about 20% of that April 1st average, which is right about the point where we start to see less in the way of snowfall and more in the way of snow melt. All right, let's take a look at our precipitation tracker. We are still above average, but just barely for the season. Only 0.3 of an inch ahead of where we should be now. Instead of seeing those huge gains that we saw in November, they're starting to kind of dwindle because this is the time of year we see much bigger precipitation. For the month, this kind of shows you that we're falling behind. We're about an inch behind where we normally would be at this point in the month. I will say this, California's feast or famine. We're either super wet or super dry, not only season to season, but also week to week. We kind of get stuck in these patterns for about a 2-week time frame. So we've been stuck in this ridge of high pressure, hazy skies, dense fog, patchy frost for about the past week and a half. And now we're going to flip the switch and turn it back to a wetter weather pattern. So October 1st is the beginning of our water year, by the way, and we're still above average from San Francisco through Sacramento, Redding, and Eureka, but you can see San Francisco just barely. I mean, we could basically call it average at this point. As we head our way southward, that's where we see some of those bigger deficits and bigger fire danger. That remains because think about it. Santa Barbara through Los Angeles and San Diego there, which are dealing with those offshore winds, are right now anywhere from about 1.5 inches to 2 inches below what we normally see at this season. So a delayed onset of the end of their fire season, just kind of not seeing those rains pick up quite yet. We actually will get some rain in Southern California with these weather systems coming through. Average rainfall for downtown Sacramento really starts to ramp up December, January, and February. I will note again, this is 50% of our annual precipitation, and we're nearly halfway through the month. It's nice to see things turning around a bit. Now, when we look out to the longer range forecast, 8 to 14-day weather hazards outlook, the Climate Prediction Center is saying it looks very likely that we'll still be in that moderate to slight risk of precipitation, heavy precipitation. Also, a slight risk of seeing heavy snowfall in the 8 to 14-day weather outlook, and winds could be an issue as well, especially along the northwest coast through the border of California, Oregon, all the way up towards the Pacific Northwest. So it is looking very likely that we are going to get back into a more active weather pattern, but likely warmer. That's something certainly to watch. If we get a big snowpack starting to build in the Sierra and we get some warmer storms, that's going to melt things, and we don't want that yet. We do not want that melt coming yet. We want that much, much later into the season, into about mid-season next year. Likely weather forecast, though, still on tap here. That takes us all the way to December 24th, which is going to be putting us right about into the Christmas holiday. We are 11 days away from the official beginning of winter, the winter solstice. Christmas Day, 15 days away, as well as Hanukkah. And then 2025 starts in 22 days. All right, on to our short-term forecast. 40s for tomorrow for this year. Again, more cloud cover coming in. Rain starts up very late in the evening through early Thursday. Highs in the 50s and 60s for the foothills. 60s across the coast, 50s inland. We'll start it off with areas of patchy dense fog, morning frost with lows in the 30s. Highs will only warm into the mid-50s to near 60, which, by the way, is pretty close to average. In terms of our active weather pattern, it starts up on Thursday. That takes us through the weekend. You can kind of see how those temperatures are going to be fluctuating for the mountains. Thus, the snow level will be bouncing around quite a bit as well, but below the passes. So be prepared to chain up and go slow over the passes. For the foothills, we're going to see periods of rain starting up on Thursday. That takes us through the weekend, as well as for the coast. So anywhere you go out of the Central Valley from Sacramento, if you're headed eastbound up to the Sierra, be prepared for some snowy conditions. Westbound to San Francisco, get ready for areas of rain. Our weather impact alert day hits us on Saturday. That's going to be about it for us right now, but then we'll track that Monday into Tuesday weather system to see if that does indeed start to gain some steam and give us more in the way of bigger impacts to start off the next work and school week. Now, next Friday, that's one to watch as well. Could see another weather system rolling our way. That's why it's so important to download that ABC 10 Plus streaming app, because we'll keep you ahead of all these developing weather changes, especially as we continue in this busy holiday travel season.